Minecraft episode number 3. Lumpy woke up very, very excited. He had another dream. If you remember, he fell asleep before his head even hit the pillow. And while he was asleep, he had a really detailed dream about a weird looking land. And there were things that looked like ghosts flying around. And big, dark, scary looking monsters, but they were like people. They were all dark and they had purple eyes. What were those things? He didn't know. But he wanted to find out, because he saw in his dream he walked through this weird-looking door that was all wobbly, and it brought him into a land that was like fire, and he heard a noise that he never heard before. It sounded like a giant bat, a really giant bat, almost like a dragon. He was excited because in his dream, it felt so real that he thought maybe this place in his dream was real, and he wanted to find it. So he put on his clothes, changed out of his jammies, grabbed his sword, and ran out the door. The sun was already up and there were no creepers around, no zombies, nothing. So he ran over to where he started his mine and he grabbed a bunch of rocks and ran home. And threw them all on his crafting table and he built a furnace. Awesome. He also had some coal, so he threw it in the furnace, and he threw all 40 blocks of iron in, which was so cool. He didn't even know that was possible to get that much iron, but he did. It took 6 hours to refine all of the iron into ingots, to big blocks of iron. And then he started building things. He built an iron sword and an iron helmet. He had an iron pickaxe and an iron shovel. And he was ready. He decided to keep some of the iron, just in case he thought of something he needed to make. But he took his sword and he took his iron pickaxe and ran back into the mine. And he dig. His arms were getting tired. So far, he didn't find anything special. Nothing. Just a few pieces of flint, which was okay, and some gravel. So he decided he would stop mining for the day. He came up and said, I better get some food. So he started wandering, and he kind of came to this place with beautiful trees all around and a bunch of chickens. And so he took his sword and he caught some chickens and killed them, and took the eggs and the feathers that they dropped, and he was grateful for the chickens. He didn't like killing the chickens, but he had to eat. So he took the chickens and the feathers and the eggs, and then he saw something off in the distance when he looked up after picking up the last egg. It looked like a building. is this building? Is it a building? It was kind of far, and the sun was going down again. But he thought, if that's a building, that means there's somebody else here. So he walked. And sure enough, it was a building. But it wasn't one building. It was tons of buildings. Because it was a village. Oh my goodness, I found a village. I didn't know there were any villages around here. It was a pretty far walk. And so he was getting kind of tired. And he finally came up to the first house in the village. And there was a villager. "Huh," the villager said. "Oh, I don't speak, huh? What does huh mean?" Everyone said, huh. But they were nice. Nobody was mean in the village. And he traded with them. He took some iron, and they gave him some sugar, and they gave him some chocolate, and one of them gave him some cake, which was awesome because his birthday was coming up soon. It was dark outside, but fortunately, he met a villager that said, huh, and pointed to an extra bed. So Lumpy laid down. This time, he didn't fall asleep right away. He just couldn't stop thinking about that weird, wobbly door that he saw. He couldn't even describe it.
Maybe it's the portal to the nether.
Maybe it's the portal to the nether. Well, what's the nether? Lumpy didn't even know. He just knew that was a very, very detailed dream. Well, he decided he would have an early piece of birthday cake. So he cut a big slice in bed, in the guest bedroom, and he got crumbs all on the sheets. We all know that you're not supposed to eat in bed because then you have crumbs everywhere, but he did it anyway. And he fell asleep off to dreamland. And this time he had a really weird dream. All he heard was, He dreamed about the chickens, and the chickens had the heads of the villagers, and they were all walking around going, buck, 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 It was a weird one. Before you knew it, the sun was coming up. So Lumpy thanked the person who let him stay in their guest room, and he gave him a piece of iron. That was kind of the best thing he had at the time, and he had so much of it. So he was leaving. And when he left, the villager pointed to another building. What is this building? It looked different than the rest. So Lumpy walked over to it, and there were books. It was a library. This is awesome. So he started looking through all these books, and they were how-to books, how to make stuff. And then he found a history book. And so he opened the book, and wouldn't you know, in some of the pages, there were drawings of a mysterious black creature with purple eyes. Oh my goodness. His dream was real. Oh, what did it mean? Why was Lumpy having these dreams about this character? And he looked at the name of the creature, an Enderman.
I knew it. It wasn't the Ender Dragon. It's an Enderman.
It was an Enderman. Oh, man. So he read all about it, and he was getting nervous because it said they were dangerous and that they rearrange blocks and that they can really do some serious damage and even kill you.
If you look at them
Oh,
in the eyes.
yep. He didn't want to look at him in the eyes, but in his dream, he looked at him in the eyes. He remembered part of his dream right there and it screamed at him. Oh, my goodness. So, Lumpy took the book and went to the librarian, and he went, huh, because that was all he ever heard these villagers say. And the villager shook his head yes and said, huh. And then Lumpy pointed to the book and said, huh, and made it look like he was going to put it under his arm and walk out. And the villager, librarian, shook his head, huh. That's all they did was make that noise. But they understood that Lumpy wanted to borrow the book. So he had to fill out a library card application. And then he got a library card. And it was due in 10 years. He had to bring the book back. Well, he thought that was crazy, but for some reason they speak but they write in English. Isn't that weird? So anyway, he took the book and went all the way back to his cube. And if you remember, he didn't sleep in his cube that night because he was in the village. And he noticed something. Blocks were missing from his cube house. An Enderman must have been here, Lumpy thought. Oh my goodness, this is getting too real. First I dream about them, then I read about them, then I see blocks missing. Lumpy couldn't think of any other reason why the blocks would be missing other than an Enderman had taken them. Oh no, I better prepare. So he took some chicken and put it in the furnace and cooked it up, and he sat on the ground and read the whole book. It didn't show anything about a door that he saw in his dream, or any ghosty things, or any giant weird bats. But it definitely taught him all kinds of things about the land that he was in. And it even showed him how to communicate with the villagers. And it also told him about potions that he could find and make. So he put the book under his pillow and he laid down, because he still doesn't have a bed, remember? He didn't find any sheep, but he learned in one of the books, the how-to books in the library, that he needs to make a bed. So that he put on his to-do list and laid down on his pillow on the ground and fell asleep. Thanks for listening. If you want more videos like this, click subscribe, and I love to hear back what you think about these stories. So leave a comment in the section below, and there's more to come.